Hey, everybody, and welcome to We Watch TV. It is the podcast about the TV that we watch. I am Daniel. She is Hope. This is episode 102. Yes, we're late, but better late than never.
It's a miracle it's happening at all.
A miracle.
Just think of it as the glacial pace to get this podcast out. Let's think of it as the glacial pace that poor old man took getting on the plane on our flight home.
Oh, my gosh.
Should we talk about that? Okay.
I guess.
All right. So
I don't know that I want to relive it, but okay.
We'll talk about my birthday vacation in all its glory in just a few minutes because, you know, I am a year older now. I'm not going to say how old. You can do the math, whatever. Anyway, we were exiting our vacation, as one does. We step out of the Disney bubble. We're at the airport. Flight was on time, which was good. It seemed like the coffee makers were in order this time. Everything was a go.
It was like half empty. The flight was like half empty.
Which was really nice. The little person that scans your boarding passes as you get on the plane, he was doing, you know, the Lord's work because there was some girl that was like trying to like violate the bag policy. And I was like, oh, great. We're going to have to stand here while she like combines her bags. And he was like, well, you're going to have to combine that next. So, which I mean, yeah.
Almost high-fived him.
I mean, I wanted to like give him a hug if I wasn't hug adverse for people.
They only tell you like 50 times you can only bring on 2 bags.
I heard her talking about it before we were getting on there because she was right in front of me. She was like friends, I think, with the lady that was like a little boarding group behind us. But she was even saying like, I'm probably not going to be able to bring all this on. She's like, so, and she was trying to already combine bags, but I think she decided she was going to push it and see what she could get by. I'm like, have you learned nothing? Have you learned nothing with all the terrible news about Southwest lately and all their changes? Of course, they're going to be hardcore. Anyway, moving right along. So now we're behind this sweet old man. I assume he's sweet. He could be an awful person. I don't know. A slow old man. And he is just going, y'all, at a gingerly pace. And we're not making fun of the elderly, but like very slow to get on the plane that is not full. And
you were right behind him.
I'm
correct?
right behind
okay.
him, which plays into the next part. And you know where I always struggle with this when I fly solo. So typically the feminism flies out of my body and I look around and I usually get a nice man to help me because I'm so short. It's not that I'm not strong enough. I'm just so short to reach the overhead bins. This man was fully tall enough to reach the overhead bins. So he's trying to get his carry-on in that bin. Suddenly it starts to fly behind him. Towards me, and I'm like, oh, do you need help? And so like so I like have my hands in the air, which I think the flight attendant or somebody else stepped in right at that moment. Well, we didn't really notice at the time. Well, I think we noticed, but we didn't really think much of it.
I noticed exactly what row he slid into.
So he sat in the exit row because he probably wanted to enjoy that, you know, spacious leg room. So we just kind of like, I noticed it a little bit, I think, once we sat down. I was like, oh, exit row. So we're doing our thing. We're trying to get ready, get our headphones in, you know, halfway. I mean, we'll just say we were listening.
I don't listen to them tell me the safety things at all because it's all just a bunch of BS.
But we both listened to it this time for some reason. And they're like, if you can perform now, for those of you in the exit row, can you perform the functions? And
we are cooked.
Daniel and I both looked at each other. And with our buffer seat in between us, because obviously, why would we sit next to each other on a flight that's not full? Give me the buffer seat. Thank you. We just looked at each other, and that's exactly what we said. We were like, we're cooked. Because I see folks...
If that guy's in charge of getting the exit door open...
no one's getting off that plane.
It's not happening.
The door's not getting open. No one's getting off that plane. And the thing is... we're not making fun because one time I was asked by a Southwest flight attendant, mind you. I don't know. I must have looked like very young and spry compared to everybody else in the flight. It's probably one of those winter flights where I was full of like elderly or like people with grandkids or children. And they're like, would you mind moving to the exit row? And I said, oh, you wouldn't want me in charge of an emergency. Like, I mean, there's just no, we'd all be cooked if I was in charge. So just know thyself, you know?
When I fly by myself, I sit on them.
Because you like the leg room.
I like the leg room, and nothing's going to happen.
But hopefully...
And if something happens, it's not going to... me sitting in there is not going to matter.
I think you'd be able to get the door open a little quicker.
Listen. Either it's something that happens on the tarmac and it's not really that big of an emergency, and I can just do my thing.
Oh my
with
gosh!
getting the door
Knock on
open.
wood. Stop talking.
Or the plane has crashed and it doesn't matter.
Stop talking. Stop talking. I always wear tennis shoes when I fly in case I'm in a lost type situation. I'm gonna have to run around in the woods. I don't want to have like a flip flop on.
Listen, no, okay. Even beyond your reasoning
make sure I
here,
wear a supportive bra.
no. Even beyond your reasoning here, anybody who wears flip flops on an airplane is a psychopath. That is psychopath behavior. Wearing flip flops on an airplane.
Yeah.
I mean, I have only in the last couple of years decided that it's okay to wear shorts on an airplane.
Yeah,
because
we
I
do that
don't
for
want
ease, but
my
it's still-
I want to limit the amount of my
Yeah.
body touching things on the airplane.
You could be like that.
I'm not a
lady
germaphobe.
that we watched because I am a germaphobe, but you could be not to this level, but you could be like that lady that I got because we were behind the slow old man. Did you notice the husband looked like he had been through it, y'all? So it was like the husband, the kid, and the wife. Did you notice in the time we stood there, she had like Lysol wipes and she was wiping down all the seats, and then
I
she
did
was
not see
passing
that.
it to the other kid that was across the aisle. The husband and I made eye contact because at one point they dropped one of the wipes and I was about ready to bend down and pick it up, and then because I witnessed
He gave you a gem look, didn't he?
I witnessed all of this because I was just standing there waiting for that man to like move. So I mean, yeah, we would have been like, but just the fact that you and I both looked at each other at the same time and just cackled like, "Oh, we're screwed." In the event of an emergency, because we got this guy sitting on the exit row. Because I think we heard her, because the exit row was like right in front of us, right?
It was only a couple rows
and they
up,
were
yeah.
like, "Can you perform these duties?" And that's where you and I looked at each other and was like, "I don't think he can."
He ain't gonna be able to do it.
I mean, I'm 5 feet tall, and I'm sitting there in a tiny little gal, and I'm about to, like, catch his carry-on bag in the air. And I feel like you're watching that in horror, like, hope you can help
It's like
him.
slow motion because I'm far enough behind you and just...
The flight attendant stepped in front of you.
Yeah, the flight
so we
attendant
had
was
somebody
in between us.
betwixt us.
There was nothing I could do to help. Like, there was just nothing I could do.
You're
except
like,
watch
hope
you...
don't volunteer.
Yeah, except watch you potentially get your head smashed by this guy's random bag.
Where were we? Was it on the flight on the way down where we witnessed that other old couple? Like, the man just left his wife.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting off. They're like probably our parents' age, I'd say.
No, I think they're younger. I think
Oh, really?
they're younger
Everyone's
than that.
looking old to me now.
Yeah.
Old or young, there's no in
like
between.
he grabbed the bag and just took
Just
off.
Power walked out of there. So she would be, and it's not as easy to roll your bag out of like the tunnel thing. You have to like lift it up, and she's like struggling with it. And then we see him turn around, and she's like, "Hello," like, "There's our future, Daniel. Take it in all its glory." A little casual airline feuding.
We keep our feuds at a reasonable and quiet volume if they are in public.
Party face.
We try not to make a scene if we can help it when we're arguing in public.
Or if we start to make a scene, Daniel's like, "Let's go get some coffee. Let's go get some Starbucks.
Eat something.
Let's get you some food."
Let's get you some food.
Where were we had first, when we arrived, I wanted my birthday button, and we tried to do that first thing, but the Emporium at Magic Kingdom, as usual, was
a mess.
And I was like, I cannot do this right now. Well, basically what happened was somebody's random child, I don't know where their parents were, like, almost tripped me, and I almost fell over, like, to kick off the trip. Like, that would have sucked to have to be, like, in a scooter the whole trip.
Describing that event is like every 5 minutes for me at Disney.
I know people are like, there's always kids at Disney. No, there was a lot of kids at Disney this trip. And I know you guys are thinking, like, that's where kids go. When I say
they don't go there by themselves. People have to
like
bring them there.
Influx of like, it was like, maybe I should say like uncontrolled kids, like just random. I have never had a trip where so many kids have darted out in front of me. Like, normally I blame like not the scooters, like the strollers, for people that push the strollers, and this time it was kids pushing kids in strollers. I don't know where the parents were on their cell phones. I don't know what was going on, but I've never had so many kids that like have almost tripped me by just like sprinting away, and I'm like, where are your parents?
Have child leashes fallen out of favor? Because I didn't see nearly as many of them as I would have
Maybe.
thought.
So it's like you got the kids that are about to trip you. You've got the old man on the plane. Other than that, it was a really fun trip. I think I'm almost ruined for life for fireworks experience.
Go ahead, tell them.
I'll tell them.
Tell them about the room and the fire. By the way, I just want to remind everybody that this birthday present was provided by me, and so I should get
make
the
money too.
I should get the you're so nice for giving her this gift on her birthday.
You are nice for...
On her birthday.
I feel like I've been planning this particular milestone birthday since I was like 17 and I was at Disney, and I'm like, someday I'm going to stay in a room and I'm going to watch the fireworks from my room. Because it's like your 20s, finding that fireworks spot is the Hunger Games. Like that old man on the plane trying to put his stuff in the compartment, he would not last 2 seconds. No. Those little kids tripping people, they're scrappy. They're going to last a while. So it's like, everything in between. And then I'm going to reveal my age. The next decade, after my 20s, we started doing dessert parties, which were really nice. And we did the one that there's different levels. We like to sit. We did, and I'm very short. I'm 5 feet tall.
I love a good sit.
So, like, if I camp out for a spot and then you put your kid on your shoulders, that's about my height. Your child is like nearly my height anyway. And then I can't see anything, and I've done all that work. It's just not worth it for me. So we started doing dessert parties. We're like, you know what? It is expensive, but it's worth it because we get to sit. We get to look at the fireworks. We get to eat some desserts and appetizers. It's all good. And that was nice. But you still have to fight, like, the crowds getting out. And you still don't have, like, your own bathroom. Well,
before we go forward, do you remember that time where we hadn't watched the fireworks, nor had we done a dessert party, but we still got caught in the crowd and you got lost?
We both got lost.
Like
from
I was
each other.
looking
I didn't
for,
get lost.
I was looking for my child.
Same. I felt like I was looking for my child. That was like last year. We had gone to the Magic Kingdom in the evening, and what had happened was they were like, now we're just skipping around, so we're just going to tell this story, but we get my birthday story, because now I did not get lost. You did not get lost. We got separated.
Oh, okay. You weren't lost. You didn't know where, you knew exactly where you were.
I knew how to find you. They wouldn't let me go that way.
No, that's true.
And basically, I think because I'm so small, I got like wrapped up in one crowd, and you got the other, and I'm like, where the heck are you? And then you tried, I think they eventually let me cross where you're not supposed to, because I was like, I can't find the members of my party. I think I said that instead of my husband, so maybe I'd appear younger. So they moved the tape and let me find you. But like we were trying to go back to do rides in the evening or something. And I don't know.
They closed off the area behind the castle to like any
it's like a fire
cross
hazard.
traffic whatsoever. So you had to go down to the main area and try and cross
the
that
hub.
way.
And we weren't even trying to leave the park. We were just trying to like go ride like pirates or something.
Yeah, we were just trying to get to the other side, like
and
15 feet away.
Somehow we got separated, and like and you were like, I'm over here. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm going to walk all the way around to find you. Because like we finally, once I calmed down, because I was freaking out. I was like, where are you? And you're like, I'm just right around the corner. And I'm like, what corner? Because at that point we realized we were like totally on opposite ends.
They also had that like
and they weren't letting you cross at all.
They weren't
right?
letting me go anywhere. But they also had that special exit behind Main Street that they have open sometimes. But I knew you didn't go that way.
No.
And I was like, they were like, you just need to go this way. And I'm like, no, I absolutely do not need to go that way.
Well, they ended up letting me cross real quick because I think the guy like took absolute pity on me. Anyway,
in our now age, of which we will not disclose,
now
we've moved up to a different viewing angle for the fireworks.
Because I just don't think at this age that I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life. I feel like I quoted that all week while we were there. We had at Disney's Contemporary Resort main tower a theme park view room. So we got to watch the fireworks, and we watched them every night of that trip. We got to watch Happily Ever After. We had such a great view that we could even see some of the projections on the castle that they do. Obviously, you're always going to see the projections better when you're like right on Main Street. But like the part with, if you've ever seen Happily Ever After, there's this scene with At Last I See the Light and the lanterns for Rapunzel. We got to see that part. We could see in a tiny, tiny distance where Tinkerbell flies at the very end. We could even see that. So it was really cool. And basically they have this channel that you can do. I know like when we've been at Wilderness Lodge, we watch on the river, they pump the music in. And I was like, I wonder if we're going to be able to hear it from our room. Well, no, you just like sync your TV up.
Yeah. And
it starts exactly on time, because by like night 3, when we were like, it was like, that's just the life we're living. I'm like in the bathroom, and I'm like, oh crap. Because I hear the da da da. And Daniel's like, it's starting. It was almost like the time we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. By the end, we're like, oh, there's a giraffe.
Yeah. I'm laying in bed. I'm like, oh, there's a zebra. Huh.
But it was really, really, really cool. So awesome. Such a dream come true. And the best part was we could watch in our comfy clothes. I think every night but one, because the only night, the night we had a later dinner, wouldn't have pajamas on. But the other nights we were already in our pajamas, so we didn't have to fight for a bathroom. Just turn around, go use the bathroom. And the crowd, fighting the crowd, was just fighting Daniel to get out of the way of the door first to get back in the room. It was really nice and awesome and amazing and incredible, and it was just so much fun. I loved it so much. So, but yeah,
we'll do it again in 10 more years.
It's the bougie life forever. It was really, really, really cool though. Like,
oh
really
no, I admit
awesome.
it was a good view, and according to your internet people, we didn't even have the best room for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. Like everybody, like we were on the far side, and so the conference.
We were on the Chef Mickey
side.
The
conference center was out over of us. I don't know what people's problem is. Like I'm only on the balcony to watch the fireworks.
I think like a lot of people, like if you really, really want more of a direct view, which I still feel like if I stood on the balcony directly, I could see the castle out of the corner of my eye, but I mainly faced like Grand Floridian.
Turn yourself.
But
like
all I had to do
45
was
degrees.
Slightly turn my body, and then I got to see that. So I think some of the people like to be down closer so they have that more straight on shot. I thought it was fine. I do agree with some of the stuff I've read on, because we did stay at Contemporary for our anniversary where we had a water view. For in the day and views in general, the water view is more picturesque, because in the daytime you do see like the parking lot on the theme park view side, but like nighttime can't be beat. I liked seeing like the bus bays though, and the monorail and everything, and like I found all that really fun. What about you?
Yeah, yes. I liked watching the buses go around, the boats go by, those mystery night lights that would come into the water at night that I couldn't figure out what they were doing. If were they boats, were they drones? I have no idea, because they weren't there during the day.
And from where we were on that end too, because of our positioning, we could still see the electrical water pageant. If you're on the water view side, the Bay Lake side of Contemporary, you can get, instead of you don't get the fireworks, but you get the electrical water pageant, which is like an old school. I think it was like around when Disney first opened Walt Disney World. Like it is that old. So, but it's got that special charm, the little music. We could hear the music each night in our room. So you get a really good view when it comes by Contemporary, because it goes by all the monorail resorts and Wilderness Lodge. So that side, you get like a very direct view. But because from where we were on that end, we could see it when it was going by like Grand Floridian and Poly, right?
Yes.
And we could hear the music, so we could still see that. We even saw that in the distance. So I thought our room was fine. It was more than fine. It was wonderful, amazing, excellent birthday trip. Thank you, Daniel.
You're very welcome. Like I said, 10 more years. Then you can do it again.
We got free Uncrustables.
Okay, I don't understand. I'm gonna plant my flag, and I'm gonna have this argument right here.
You don't like peanut butter and jelly, you weirdo.
What is the deal with Uncrustables? I don't get it.
Okay, one, they are really good, but I think, and they're really good cold. A lot of people wait for them to thaw. Okay, so, but it's, when I say free, obviously you paid to get into the park. It's like one of those free snacks at Epcot that you can get only during the Flower and Garden Festival. And I knew that people went crazy for it, but then we got to witness it. We were in line to get our picture taken with the Mickey Minnie topiary and the ball in the background. And I was like, I think this is the area where they're going to bring the Uncrustables out around 11. You would have thought that there was a rare character that was coming out.
You'd have thought Walt Disney himself, resurrected, was showing up.
It was insane. Like, you know how this, if you guys have ever been to Disney World, they'll have the cast members that'll hold like a sign, like line starts here for a ride or something, or a character. They had a sign for the Uncrustables. Now, it did move quickly, and I hear they like sell out fast, so I was able to snag us some. You gave me a courtesy bite, but you're not a peanut butter and jelly person.
That's correct.
The raspberry ones are really good. That's the first time I had them. I think it's the whole thing of like, it's something free. It's free.
But it's not, because you paid how much money to be in the park that day.
Yeah, but you pay how much money to be in the park, and then you have to buy every other snack. That's one little scrap that Disney can give you.
Okay. I just don't get Uncrustables. I think like,
you don't have,
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Okay, Ben Wyatt.
They're not that good.
They're amazing. They're so good.
All right.
Oh, happy Easter to those who celebrate, by the way. I did get you to admit to me that the Reese's eggs are very much different than those Reese's carrots or regular Reese's over the weekend, the Easter holiday weekend.
You got it on recording?
Admit it now. I said I was going to bring it up on this very podcast.
Different in that they're differently shaped, sure, but they're still peanut
He
butter
is
and
lying!
chocolate.
He's like, there is more chocolate. The ratio of the egg, the peanut butter is always going to be
I
more.
believe I mostly commented. This was the first time I'd had the carrots.
The carrots that you
I mostly commented at the interesting, familiar shape of them and how you could very easily
Stop it! We're not
manipulate
doing that on Easter.
It's not Easter. Easter's over.
Easter. We had a fun Easter. We got some old school records from my dad.
Yeah.
We have a Muppet album from the original Muppet movie. The case is basically falling apart. I was very skeptical if that record was going to work at all. And it worked. It had that little snap, crackle, pop in the beginning.
It's got that hiss.
Which I like.
And it's got that snap, crackle, and pop. But there were some bigger scratches on that thing that I thought were going to make it, like, skip around. But
once
it did not.
The song started playing, like the Rainbow Connection, like it played, like it started off with snap, crackle, pop, but then it was like perfect. And that's the one thing I'll say about listening to new vinyls. I'm always like, I like the little fuzzy feeling of records, but we used to listen to that one all the time when we were kids. Let's see. We also walked away with, I have to bring it back, Jesus Christ Superstar. If you know, you know. Dad's like, I'm going to need that one back. Let's see. We got Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's pretty old school classic. Carpenters. For some reason, Mom and Dad had 2 copies of the same Elvis vinyl, so we got one of those.
To which I said, why are you bringing Elvis into this house? But
you liked the Elvis movie.
Liked is a strong word for that.
You just love to play the disgruntled character on this podcast.
I'm not playing a character. I don't know what you're talking about.
What was the other one that we got? Like 3?
3 Dog Night. And we have to bring that one back too, apparently.
See, I feel like this is where I'm like more like Dad, because he barely listens to these. He's like, I'm going to need that back. I think I'd be the same. Whereas Mom literally was like, you can have my Simon and Garfunkel Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's a really iconic album. And I'm like, I can have this one? Like, that's probably one of the like most popular albums that they had.
It's
they
also
had a lot
in
of good
really
stuff,
good
though.
shape too, by the way.
Yeah.
Probably of the ones we got, it's probably in
Dad
the best
kept
shape.
trying to give me his Osmond records. I was like, you
Pass.
mean like the guy that sings the Mulan song? Donny Osmond, and that was on Dancing with the Stars? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need the Osmond brothers. But they had a lot of stuff. And then Elizabeth, my sister, took
Osmond
Chicago.
Brothers. It's Donnie and his sister.
No, the Osmond brothers had their own band, and then Donnie and Marie did their own thing.
Oh.
I think they tried to be like the Jacksons.
Learn something new every day.
I used to think Donnie and Marie were like husband and wife. Like, instead I was like,
They
oh,
are
brother
not.
and sister? I just know him for his iconic, let's get down to business.
With that said, we did actually watch some
We
television,
did.
believe it or not. Now, most of our marquee shows have ended, and we're kind of approaching a bit of a stretch here where I think Hope she's not going to be able to escape
Andor.
Star Wars Andor. But we haven't watched that yet.
Can I just credit everybody for tuning into that White Lotus episode? I feel like White Lotus seasons 1 and 2, our sound quality was not nearly as good back then. I think we just done it on our phones. Was that our second?
That was our
podcast
second episode, yeah.
And it was one of the ones that we've had most listened to. Well, y'all really turned out for our White Lotus season 3 finale recap. So, in just probably a couple months, the next month or so, maybe next 2 months, we'll have a super cutout for you on that. But thank you to everybody for showing up and listening to us yap and yammer and ramble about the White Lotus. That's pretty cool. Anyway.
Speaking of HBO shows, we are in the middle of season 4, the final season of The Righteous Gemstones. I believe we've got 2 episodes to talk about.
Yes.
The prelude episode that you always get every season.
Interlude.
Where you get interlude, I'm sorry, yeah, we already had the prelude. Interlude episode that we have every season, and then the most recent episode. I was a little disappointed in the interlude episode because we didn't get any young baby Billy. But
I think it's because Walton Goggins, from everything I've read, like literally came out of Thailand, off the White Lotus set, and like had like mere hours to start filming. And I think some of the scenes they're saying why like the scenes that are just focused on him is because he wasn't able to film everything with the cast. That's just stuff
no,
I've
you
read.
can. I think the way they've cut his scenes together, you can tell when he was on set and when he was not on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it though. I was fine without Baby Billy because I think the actors, especially the one that plays young Jesse, like are phenomenal. Those kid actors, and they're the same kids that they've had since the beginning. Like
Yes.
that, he has Danny McBride's walk down, the mannerisms. Young Judy is great, and I feel like we got to finally see, like, because now that Kelvin's aging a little bit, like we got to, like, I finally felt like I could see Adam Devine in the young Kelvin character.
Tell us your
for that
favorite
particular-
part about that episode with Kelvin.
What is it? 8 ways to love Hayden or something even more. He's like, who needs more ways to love Hayden Christensen? So he was in Judy's room. Not only did I have that Hayden Christensen like magazine cut out, I'm pretty sure on my wall. I feel like if I haven't seen that magazine, I need that magazine. If y'all know, love me some Hayden Christensen. Anakin Apologist. I'm very excited. Oh, next week on the podcast we can talk about Revenge of the Sith. The 20th anniversary. So that was the best part of the episode. That's the best Star Wars movie. You will not take her from me.
No.
Yes. The best. It's the best. But those kids, I think they knock it out of the park.
The kids do a great
They
job.
do so good.
I agree with you. Like this was maybe the interlude that they really got to shine in.
Yeah.
Maybe more than any of the other ones in the past season. So
What did he say?
there was
Young
plenty
Jesse's like, your soon to be bastard grandson. So I'm gonna name him Stallone. So you can see how like Gideon got his name. They're like, it's not gonna be, you guys are getting married soon. We got more backstory on Miss Lori and Amy Lee's friendship. We got to see, which you clocked him right away because he had that wig on and the like, either probably not makeup, like
was the
digital
voice for
editing
me.
to look younger. You were like, "That's not Mary Poppins, y'all from Guardians,"
Yep.
and I'm like, "That's Michael Rooker? Are you serious?"
it was the voice for me.
Absolutely.
As soon as I heard his voice, I knew that was who that was.
And the fact that his profession in the show is like a gator handler at like one of those little gator like water park things that you see in like the beach areas down probably in South Carolina, which I think is where the show is set. Is just chef's kiss to me. I thought that was a good episode, and I think we definitely know now who robbed and stole the Bible, right? The gold-plated Bible. That was Miss Laurie's ex-husband.
Yep.
I'm not so sure that he's the one that's necessarily chasing off entirely. Her
No, I'm not either. I
boyfriends.
think
And I don't think she's bad either. I think it's all red herrings.
I think it's the son.
I think it's the son. I think it's Corey, aka Stifler. And you kind of saw like he felt very torn between his parents, young Corey, but he definitely protected his dad and lied about where his dad was.
Correct.
Because basically the kids had left and Kelvin was home alone because Amber, Jesse, and Judy had gone out to get like tacos or something. So that's where like the whole robbery that we saw like early in the season, little Kelvin, where he was having his nightmare about it. We had the resolution on that, like the fallout, what happened afterwards. And Corey, I think, like was questioned by Lori about like, where was your dad?
And he lied.
He lied about it. I mean, he probably wants to protect his dad. And I still like, that's who my money's on as well. In the most recent episode, I think you're right, Daniel. Daniel predicted that Judy and Dr. Watson, the little monkey that's helping BJ out, he's like, Judy's going to fight that monkey. I think you are spot on. But why was BJ kissing the monkey so many times? And the monkey, you can tell, I think the monkey wants to fight Judy. We haven't really had an extreme Judy crash out yet this season.
No, we haven't.
We've
and
had
it's
some
going to happen
rants.
when she fights that monkey. When she
Yeah.
fights Dr. Watson, that's going to be it.
I did
It's going to
like
try and take her man.
that Kelvin won. He did win the top crest following man.
Yeah.
I did find that a little unrealistic because I feel
I
like
do as well.
I feel like while his prism and everything is trying to be more open and accepting, I just feel like the people that would take the time to watch what they say, you had to pay to vote too. They're like, fees will be included, so it's not like Dancing with the Stars where you vote for free. I just think that more of the, maybe I'm generalizing, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think more of the audience would be leaning towards what the Simpkins guy was saying, that would watch that type of programming, or maybe we're just underestimating folks?
I'm just so disconnected from anything remotely close to that kind of programming. I couldn't tell you, but just from what I know and my interactions, I can't see
when we
Kelvin.
were watching, you were like, there's no way he'd win in real life, but that's really nice.
And
Like,
more importantly than just the competition, this was the first time that Kelvin said maybe to himself, as well to everybody else, is that he said, "I'm a gay man."
Yeah.
And I.
Keith was so proud.
So from a character development perspective, it was really good to see, and it was good to see that he got that positive reaction from it. From a realism, I mean, I'm not watching Righteous Gemstones for realism, anyways, so I'm gonna let it slide. But I do have trouble seeing that's how that worked out.
I did love though how Jesse and Judy showed up for Kelvin in that moment and supported him.
Sure.
That was really nice, and that was kind of mirrored with Gideon showing up for Pontius, the crazy brother. And then I love they've made Gideon so like, because he's good at everything except for preaching apparently, but to get to see Gideon be a baddie again with the skateboarding and show off to Pontius's like, you know, little friends that were kind of making fun of him, that was pretty cool. I don't know where they're going with Pontius. I think Pontius is the child that Jesse deserves ultimately. With how you can tell that maybe Jesse wasn't as bad as like Pontius can be, but Jesse was a pill. Let's call it what it is. Jesse, Judy, and Kelvin, they're all like unhinged, spoiled kids, spoiled teens, spoiled adults, and I think he's like the kid, the classic one that just gives it right back to you. So I don't know where they're going with Pontius. I don't know what they're going to do. They only have 2 episodes left. Like, how are we going to have time to get everything done? I don't know. Am I going to not get my Keith Kelvin wedding? Can I have a BJ and Judy spinoff? I'm not ready to say goodbye. Can I see Teen Just, the actual show? Teen Just. What did he get?
Is Baby Billy going to die? Because to me, that's like they have been hinting at some problems.
We straight up asked for cocaine.
Yeah, all season.
Can I say that on the podcast?
Why not?
I don't know. He's like, he goes up to talk to like the board, which is, you know, Judy and Jesse, and he's like, I need 100 mil. I don't know what he asked for.
He said he needed 2 mil and an 8 ball.
Yeah, and he's like, you guys are so selfish. And then there's something I feel like is going to happen with Sola too.
I don't know. Yeah, they just bring in these random characters.
Show?
Yeah,
we paid a nan.
So
I don't know, but I'm looking forward to more.
Continuing with HBO Max or HBO on Max. I don't know how they're phrasing this now.
It's Max.
I don't know how you get. Like you don't.
I feel like every week they change their logo.
I don't know how you don't take advantage of the HBO name.
Max.
In my opinion, like I'm not a marketer.
Thank you, Max.
But I feel like you should just drop the Max part and call it HBO. But whatever. What do I know?
Maybe be like, what is Ryan saying on The Office? Woof. That he tried.
I finished the first 3 seasons of Hacks,
and I got to rewatch it again in all its glory.
And then we have also watched the first 3 episodes of the new season 4 that are out. I agree with you; it's a very good show.
It's an excellent show. You had seen a little bits and pieces, some episodes with me, and I feel like you thought it was funny. But now that you've watched it all together and you have that connection with the characters, did those episodes like feel differently to you? Now that you know Deborah, you know Ava, you know Marcus. Like, did that come off like much
absolutely. Like, you know, always missing those character development moments, you know, doesn't give you the full scope of the characters.
Yeah.
I am going to be frustrated. Speaking of the season we have now,
yes,
and the knowledge of we are at least getting a 5th season.
Remember, guys, we are a spoiler podcast. We didn't say that earlier, so oopsie.
That I'm going to be frustrated. I think we've talked about this.
Yes,
if
we did.
season 5
Not
is
with our
the
viewers,
same
with each
kind
other.
of format that season 2 and season 4 are looking to be, which is in conflict with those two, with the 2 main characters, Ava and Deborah Vance, because this is season 4 so far has been mostly a season 2 conflict on like ramped up to 1,000.
So the
right?
season 2 conflict was that Ava had sent out those emails about Deborah. Then even though she took it back because she was very upset and angry about their fight in season 1. So Deborah said she was going to sue her. So there was a little bit of tension. Then Deborah came around, but she'd still make the jokes like, yeah, well, I'm going to take you for everything you own. And obviously, you know, she didn't sue her at the end. This one was a little bit different because the way season 3 ended was Deborah basically said, she gets the gig to be the late night host. And she told Ava, like, you're going to be the head writer. And then, of course, Deborah, as usual, got paranoid, like, what if they take this away from me again? And I don't get to have it. Gets in her head, and then screws Ava over, lies to Ava, and says they said they want to go with their guy, but you can be like the second in command. Well, Ava sees Helen Hunt's character, who's like the network head or something,
Yeah.
out and about, and she's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like I'm good. Like I can be." She's like, "Oh, I told Deborah she can hire whoever she wants." So it's not only the screwing over, it's the lying. And Ava went scorched earth and basically is extorting Deborah. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Deborah
For
did
sure.
wrong, but what Ava's doing is not right. So this is a much more elevated conflict, but I agree with what you're saying. I can't take every season of we have the tension, we have the conflict, we get over it, we have growth, and then we fight again. There needs to be some balance.
Yeah.
Those two are always going to, I feel like, be at odds in some way because they're so alike
Yes.
that they do butt heads. And that's part of the charm of those characters, is that you can tell that they are very emotionally connected to each other. And the people, and I'm not saying this they're not romantic. I think, well, that ship is fun in theory. I don't think it's going to happen. But what I mean by like so emotionally connected with their souls is that they are so much alike. They share such that bond and connection, but they can hurt each other more than anybody else. And I think you're seeing that play out. And I really hope that they're going to cool it. And I feel like they are, like, now they know in catching up in season 4 that basically they were told, like, hey, this is our last ditch effort, or we might have to pull late night altogether. Because I mean, I don't know any of my friends that watch. I think Kaylin does. I think she is devoted to watching Seth. She might be the only one I know. And I don't know if she watches it every night now that she's got the children, the kiddos, or if she DVRs it or what. But most people I know, they only watch it when they see like a clip on YouTube. Like, do you know anybody personally, like under the age of like 45, that watches late night?
No.
Like, I don't know anybody who watches SNL either. Like, I'll see stuff on my TikTok and I'm like, oh, that's funny, like the skit. But like, just
If you're out there, let us know.
let us know. Do you watch this? So let me know your age, your demographic.
But
so they have that. They got to
yeah.
put their personal crap aside, and they have to see what they can do to save the show.
Now that we're several episodes into season 4, I can tell you the trajectory of this season, though. This season ends with that first episode.
I think so too.
And then, so season 5 is going to be maybe a time, maybe a time jump, and we're going to see what's going on extended from here.
Yeah.
This season is going to be just the run up to the final episode. If I were a writer of the show, and
I think that's how I'd play
I'm
it
thinking about it myself, if I were going to get real artsy and stupid with it, the last episode of this season would just be the show that goes on
That'd be
TV.
so cool.
Nothing else. Like just
Yeah.
what we as actual viewers of late night would see
Yeah.
from that perspective.
Well,
I don't know that they'll do that, but that'd be
I don't know
really
if
cool.
they'll do that because I'm pretty sure I saw some clips of like Rosie O'Donnell filming like as like herself as like a guest.
Yeah.
I think I read something about that. So maybe she'll be in the last episode. I don't know. Where like Deborah interviews Rosie. I'm pretty sure I read that. Maybe somebody, you know, sometimes people are wrong on Reddit, but I'm pretty sure I read that. I think though that like if the plan really is to get 5 seasons, I think that Deborah and Ava aren't going to continue to argue as fiercely, but I'm not sure we're going to have the conflict. I don't think they're going to be as close as they were in season 3 personally.
No, I agree.
I think they're going to have to, you know, I think that we'll still have
I
think we'll still have fun Deborah Ava moments.
Yeah.
Like where they're at the spa where she got like her facelift or whatever. I think we'll have some stuff like that, but I'm not sure. One of the things that I like so much about season 3 was how close they got, like the hiking episode.
Right.
I told you that was my favorite episode of season 3. I'm not sure we're gonna get that yet in this season if they're planning for a 5, and then maybe we'll mend the relationship, but maybe we won't. I don't know
because I'll tell you right now,
so alike.
I still think that what Deborah said, like right now they're coming.
Yeah.
The arc is they're coming back together because they've
Yeah.
realized they have to.
They have to for their
That,
careers.
you know, they've had the talking to from the network head. Now that HR person has to be in the room with them. Like they've had their
Yeah.
talking to, and they're going to come together. But at the beginning of this season, at the end of episode 1, when they were at the photo shoot, Deborah
How good is that
said,
scene, though?
I'm never going to forgive you for
Yeah.
this, and we might go on for years and
Well,
years and years. But
She
the
didn't
moment,
forgive her sister.
but the moment
Like
this
30
ride,
years.
she said, the moment this ride is over, we are done, and I will never speak to you
I
again.
hope that doesn't happen.
I'm not going to say that's going to happen,
Yeah.
but I think that is going to be something that we see come out at the end of this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get
Yeah.
if we see some
I don't have the
shades
bandwidth
of that
for
in season 5.
because it broke my heart when Midge and Susie weren't speaking to each other for a little bit because Midge blames Susie and Maisel.
Yeah.
Sorry, jumping ahead to another comedy show set in another decade. Midge like blames Susie for Joel going to jail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he kind of fell on the sword. So, but then they eventually did, you know, become friends
Reconcile,
again in the
so.
end, which was nice because I felt like while obviously I did like sorry I like Midge and Lenny Bruce. The actors had chemistry off the charts. I don't care that was historically inaccurate.
Boo.
No, what I'm saying though is the love story of that show was Midge and Susie. Honestly,
yeah, I agree.
Ultimately, and I think the love story of this is, even if it's not romantic, is Ava and Deborah. But that scene that you're referencing, can we just talk about how beautifully acted that was?
That was a great scene.
I feel like Hannah, she is the writer that plays Ava, and she's a writer, I believe, also for this show and in real life. Her acting skills are, I feel like she's always been a good actor. They have improved, like her face acting, just her eyes and that smile when they were doing that magazine shoot. I feel like this might be, we need to get her an Emmy. Like it was so, like, I was so impressed by how both of them did that scene, but especially her. Like, it was so good. Now, you like Shooter McGavin and Deborah, right? Marty?
If I saw a realistic ship for Deborah, it's with him.
I'm just not sure that Deborah's meant to be with
No,
anybody.
I don't know that that's the show, but certainly of all the male characters in her life, he's the one that sees her most for who she really is, because they had that golf episode.
Oh yeah, from season 3.
Season 3, where she was like trying to show off for the network owner,
like,
the conglomerate owner, whatever that guy is, but she was like playing like she didn't know how to golf, and he was like, "What are you doing?" Because he knows she's better than that.
He knows she's a ball buster.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so he knew that just was not her, and so like I said, this show is not about the ship.
Please watch Hacks. Even us giving us you spoilers right now, it's one of those shows that you need to watch. You need to watch the dynamic between the two, because you, like Daniel, had coming back and forth and knew a little bit, and now that you have the whole, like, you care about it more, you're more invested in these characters. Now, obviously, Severance is still your best thing going, and I think while I love Severance and thought that was one of the best season finales I've ever seen, ultimately where we differ is I'm always going to cling to a little bit more funny, even though Severance can be funny too. That's why Hacks is definitely we'll have to see how the season plays out, but it's in my conversation for best thing going. While you might not agree with me, can you see why I would think that?
If we compiled a list of shows that we would say these are the ones that are in the running for the best thing going, and you put Hacks on the list, I have zero argument against you on why you would add that at least to a short list, for sure.
All right.
No question.
I'm looking forward to more Hacks. Let's see here. Oh, I finished a show. Unbeknownst to myself, I was like, well, this feels like a season finale. Because it was. I guess I'm unaware of what time of year it is. This is when shows normally start to wrap up, April, May. I feel like most shows wrap up in May, though. But Abbott Elementary got caught up with that. That's a show you pop in and out of. You don't dislike it, but you don't love it.
Correct.
And I thought the season finale was really good. Ava, spoiler alert, she is back as principal at Abbott.
Well, they resolved that fast.
I think they're going to have, the kids.
Because I watched the episode where she lost her job, and that's only been, 2 or 3 episodes?
She fell on the sword. It was more than that.
Okay.
Like, you missed some. She fell on the sword for the teachers because they were all taking bribes. And basically, the teachers, like, we're going to go to the board then and admit that we did it too, and maybe we can get your job back because they won't have enough room for subs. And then they found out they were going to get suspended, and the kids, like, stood up for Ava. And then I don't really, if I'm being honest, it was right when we got back from our trip, so I think I faded in and out of one of the episodes. But she gets her job back. That's really nice. But I think our conflict for the next season is going to be because Gregory he always wanted to be a principal. Remember?
Yeah.
You remember that about his character?
Yes, I remember that.
He got to be the interim principal while she was gone, and you could tell that, like, reignited his passion. So I think that might be like his, maybe not conflict, but his journey. Like, is he going to try to seek employment elsewhere?
Sure.
He and Janine ended on a fine note. She met his dad. He was a little weirded out because his dad was, like, goofing around and showing Janine like laughing. Not when I say affection, I don't mean like creepy. And he's like, this he saw like a side of his dad he didn't see, and his dad's like, you know what, Janine reminds me a lot of your mom, because his mom had passed away when he was much younger, and he's like, we need people like that to balance out like serious guys like us. I thought that was very touching. That was a very nice moment. And then the 8th, because the way Abbott Elementary works is they're like K through 8, which I guess some schools are like that. So like the 8th graders were graduating, so they wrote a play where the teachers like I think I don't know who played Mrs. Howard. Like, they played each other.
Okay.
And had to do like basically almost like a roast, but like in a nice way. And it was just really nice to see like them thank their student or their teachers and say they love them. And I'm like, this feels like you're having the 8th grade not a graduation episode, but they're leaving. I'm like, this really feels like a season finale. Like, they could end the season here. Because they did.
I remember you finished watching it, and you were like,
finale.
"This feels like a season finale." Will you check and see? And I grabbed the remote and looked. I was like, "Yeah, there's none more on the thing," and that's it.
And then we are ghosts. We are not. We are caught up on ghosts.
Yeah.
I feel like we did talk about ghosts a little bit in a previous podcast.
We did.
Our most recent episode, we found out that Trevor has a daughter.
Saw that coming as soon as the episode
Yeah, his
started.
old friend Pincus, the reason why he doesn't have pants as a ghost, if you watch Ghosts on CBS or the worst app ever, Paramount Plus. Can we say that? It's the worst app ever?
Come for us. Hey, if Paramount wants and CBS wants to sue us for saying it's the worst app ever, that means in a court of law, they will have to prove it's not.
Oh, gosh. There's probably some really bad apps. Don't say that. Don't sue us, please. Anyway, his buddy comes on, and I was like, this actress they cast looks a lot like Trevor. I thought that was really... But she kept referencing The Cutting Edge. That's his favorite movie. Or he kept referencing that. I thought that was good. Ghost is just one of those shows, like, I watch it, and I don't have, like, a ton to say about it, but I enjoy it every time I watch it. I agree with you about Flower.
I want to get it on the record once more, just to make sure that everybody is clear for the two people that actually watch this show.
Don't skip this part.
That something's weird with Flower, and it might just be inconsistent writing.
Yeah.
But if it isn't,
she is meaner.
If it isn't, my theory is that the ghost power of the Pilgrim Girl, who we saw at Patience from the earlier in this season, is to look like another ghost, and she has the real Flower
Would she be so
trapped somewhere.
Free-willing love, though, with her beliefs.
If she's trying to get revenge.
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
I think that's like where the season where we thought Jay was going to become a ghost because he was eating all the fast food, and we're like, are they going to like give him a heart attack or something?
I think we probably
went way too dark.
We probably
went too Severance.
Yeah, we probably mark this up to inconsistent writing. Womp womp.
Which, yes, I agree. So speaking of inconsistent writing, I have an announcement. The preview was finally dropped, and we have a date. And just like that, season 3 will drop on
I didn't know where you were going with that.
2025. Also on Max. Will I watch it? Yes. Will I complain? You bet. I am already triggered by a scene that I saw because they film in New York City, and somebody caught in the street of like Aiden once again yelling at Carrie on the street. And I'm like, get rid of this guy.
Are we having a 5-year gap?
I'm just going to say, no, obviously not. Obviously not. I'm just going to say this. Everybody always stands Aiden. I went back and even did a Sex and the City rewatch. Sure, he was a nice guy, but he wants you to know it, that he's a nice guy. And yeah, was Carrie right in cheating on him? Absolutely not. And he never let her forget it either. But even before, he was wanting to change her before she even cheated on him. Like, he just red flag, red flag, red flag. So you'll never catch me as being like, Aiden was such a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. It drives me crazy how Sex and the City fans act like he's some special, man sent down from Jesus himself to, like, make everybody, like, no. Like, you watch it, and I feel like you were kind of, like, disagreeing with me at first until Aiden annoys you now, too, right?
Correct. The real question for this season is, however, will we once again be blessed with an Aiden in his tidy whities scene?
Probably. I don't know. I feel like that was always his thing on the OG and the original. I don't know.
They had him in it last season.
John Corbett is a very
Why do I remember this stuff? Why is it stuck in my head?
I
don't know!
Because I try to block it out. I feel like John Corbett's a very attractive man, but the way they style him for Aiden on the show is just, ugh.
You got nothing on him except his personality.
Anyway, I'll see you on May 29th and just like that, because your girl's gonna be watching it. We got a Wednesday trailer today for season 2. Did you watch it yet?
No.
Well, we got that coming. That's going to be in 2 parts, August and September. Why they won't give it to us in October, I'll never know. Are you booing Wednesday or the 2 parts?
2 parts.
Yeah, that's
and also
terrible.
not giving it to us in October. What?
Still no date on Strange New Worlds.
I'm getting stressed out. I'm
stressed
out about this. I'm stressed out.
We've heard rumors of August, but I'm like, people are making announcements. Why?
It's really, like, honestly close enough to August that if you're going to put it on in August, you probably should go ahead and say that.
Well, yeah, I mean, just like they said Wednesday on Netflix.
So I don't know.
We still haven't watched Suits LA yet, y'all. This isn't looking good for it. We will eventually. We just haven't.
All right.
We've been watching Everybody Loves Raymond instead.
We talked about it briefly before a few minutes ago, but let's go. What are we doing Friday or Saturday?
whatever day permits, we are seeing Revenge of the Sith.
That is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
It's my favorite.
The second best Star Wars movie.
It's the best Star Wars movie. My favorite Star Wars movie.
Actually, the third best Star Wars movie. I'm sorry.
It is the best, number one Star Wars movie, the best ever. My first Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. This was back 20 years ago on release dates. You couldn't just, how now you can just go at like Thursday at like 6 p.m. They made you wait till midnight. We saw it at midnight. We actually saw it with my sister, my brother-in-law, some friends of theirs. I think my brother was there too. Y'all, I got on the news. I got interviewed for the newspaper. Now, back then, I would correct my choice. Well, I hadn't seen this movie yet, but I was quoted in the paper as saying that Return of the Jedi was my favorite Star Wars movie. Because I think I was like, because Darth Vader becomes even a simp then for Anakin. I think now of the OGs, I do have to admit, Empire is probably collectively better. There's so that would be my second favorite Star Wars movie. I see where you guys are coming from, but I do really like how everything comes full circle at the end and Vader has redemption.
Now that I think about it a lot,
Revenge
of the Sith is my fourth best Star Wars movie.
What's your what? So you go and you go Empire.
The look.
So then tell me, you go Empire, Return of the Jedi, and New Hope, or do you like whiny Luke and A New Hope?
Empire. Probably still Jedi. New Hope.
Jedi has the Leia look you have in it, right? No, that's Empire.
That's Empire.
Okay.
Man, that's Empire. Come on.
Okay.
The hottest
Leia.
The hottest that Princess Leia ever was.
Even over the bikini.
Ever was in that first opening scenes of Empire Strikes Back when she's in that white outfit.
But that's also where we get the kiss with her and Han. Love it. Okay, so you go Empire, Return of the Jedi, and New Hope. So what is your fourth?
Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith. I said fourth.
Okay, well then, if you're one of those, Daniel, if you want to cling
it's
to the...
fighting out barely with The Last Jedi.
If you want to
and
be...
now
one,
I know
now
I've
that's
said...
a hot take.
Now I know I've said something really controversial.
You want to be one of those olden-time Star Wars fans that's always going to rank the OGs above. I go... Revenge of the Sith,
movies.
Number one. Revenge of the Sith is number one. Empire's number two. And then I start to get fuzzy because I'll admit I'm a prequel gal. I think they have a beginning, middle, and an end. I think they're more fleshed out. I like them. I don't mind. I like the midi-chloridians or whatever the heck they're called. I don't care. And I just love
Nobody
Anakin.
likes those. You're wrong. You're incorrect. Nobody likes the midi-chloridians.
I used to like Jar Jar until I went back and rewatched and was like, okay, he is. But I think it's because I was younger when I watched it. I think it's like Barney's Ewok theory from that terrible show, How I Met Your Mother. Do you like the Ewoks?
Oh, 100%. There are older people that when they saw that movie hated the Ewoks. Younger kids like us.
Yeah,
loved them,
and
that's
Ewoks.
just how that stands.
But I still I like the actor that plays Jar Jar. I think people are extremely cruel to him, so Jar Jar's fine. It's almost like shocking, how much less they gave him to do. I feel like the Phantom Menace is great, Battle of the, what is it called? Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
Amazing. That whole entire sequence, it's just, the prequels are great. I love the prequels. I will always stand by and fight for the prequels. I remember when I first started watching the Star Wars movies on that tragically small TV in my college dorm, I turned to Daniel and I was like, I hadn't seen Revenge of the Sith yet either, and I was like, I like these ones better. And you were like, if you could have just smacked a woman, you were like, what?
God.
You were like, but now you come around, you like the prequels a lot, but I think it was very cool back then to hate on the prequels.
Yes.
It was very cool, and I'm sure
Well,
there's going to be people that are going to stand the sequel someday, younger.
I mean, it was cool to hate Star Wars in general when the prequels were coming out. I remember before the prequels were coming out, it was cool just to hate Star Wars as some nerdy, geeky, dorky thing that people liked. But yes, within the Star Wars community, which I have been excommunicated from for quite a long time.
I'm still in it.
It was cool to hate the prequels after.
Yeah. So I think that's why you were
Phantom Menace.
But now, we've had these conversations, and you're like, I can totally see why. You've said this. You've admitted this. You're like, why you liked the prequels better. And
I get it. I
enjoyed them more. The pacing was better. It was more enjoyable. I still love Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie. I love everything about. But I think looking back and the lore that I've gotten into, I can tell that George Lucas made some crap up as he went along in the OGs. I'm sorry, you can tell. It worked out for him though. Bravo. And my problem with the sequels is that there's not like I can tell that they changed direction, but I still don't like hate on those. Like it might come off like we do, but like I think that's my biggest problem with the sequels is just they're not like you say you like The Last Jedi a lot. I like how we're hijacking this into a Star Wars podcast. I like The Last Jedi too, but it doesn't fit. It does not fit with the other two.
But
it right out.
But I see my
it
problem.
It doesn't.
I agree with you that it does not fit within that trilogy.
Yeah.
Because none of the movies fit within that trilogy, and so if I'm taking the absurdist approach to it, if you can't classify any of them, then I'm just going to pick the one that I think is the best coherent movie.
Yeah.
And say that's my favorite one, and that's the best
I
one.
wish
and
Rey...
it's like I'm sorry, I can't help you that Disney and Lucasfilm are cowards who just take everything negative that people said about The Last Jedi and say, well, we're not going to do any more of that stuff in Rise of Skywalker because they're cowards.
Well, I think they're afraid to make certain characters like in a negative light. Like Leia and Padme both had major flaws. Rey was like perfect. No flaws.
Correct.
And I love Rey, but I could have stood like one of the reasons why I resonate so much with Leia and Padme is because of how deeply flawed both of them were.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I get really irritated when people call Padme weak. It makes me so mad. She's not the same way that Leia is. I always found that Padme and Luke are more alike in their approach, and Leia has her father's temper. Like Leia and Anakin are more alike. Fight me. I will fight every single one of you. And I feel like Luke... And I think because Luke is so much like Padme, I think that's another way is how he was able to reach Vader.
I mean, they all but called that out in the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yeah, and I felt so
Obi-Wan
seen.
Kenobi show.
I felt so seen. But we're going to get more Anakin and Ahsoka, too. That was announced. I'm very excited.
The rumor is...
I love that everybody's finally on board. Hayden Christensen went through some crap because y'all treated him terribly, and now everyone loves my baby Anakin.
You've seen the rumors who else is going to be in Ahsoka Season 2, right?
No, who?
Natalie Portman.
That's not confirmed, though.
It's not confirmed. No.
I could see them maybe like a flashback, like a memory sequence, because they've already confirmed that Padme cannot like return as a Force ghost because she was not a Jedi.
That's correct.
So I would love to see Padme come back. I think Padme and Anakin, like obviously Han and Leia are like the fun love story, like they did for the most part, minus their heathenish child. I'd say they worked out. They still loved each other for all their flaws, but I think Anakin and Padme have like the most tragic love story, but also one of the most beautiful love stories, because at the end of the day, y'all, Star Wars is one big giant love story. All this could have been avoided. He tried to do everything to protect the love of his life, and it just blew up in his face. And I can't wait to gaslight myself again into thinking that Anakin is not going to turn. I'm so excited to watch Revenge of the Sith. I think it's so special to me because you never forget your first Star Wars.
Dear listeners, thank you so much for turning into this episode. I am
one.
Sorry that we had to talk about Star Wars for the
Wars.
last 10 minutes. I apologize.
It's your fault.
We'll see you next week.
It's your fault. Only a Sith would deal in absolutes.